Hi, welcome back to Channel 6 TV, Community Focus. I'm Kenny Fogel, your host. Glad you could be with us tonight. I want to introduce a special guest here with us today, the Superintendent of Nelson County School Districts, Mr. Tom Brown. First of all, Tom, welcome to the show. It's got to be a challenge. You take on the role of superintendent about a week or so before school starts. I mean, usually you get a little more notice than that.
Well, yeah, we got to hit the ground running. We're getting a lot of things started and finished, and getting school ready to go. Priority one is to make sure school's ready to go.
All right. Well, before we get into a little bit about what's going to go on this school year, which I know you're just now delving into. You've been around a little bit as far as in the school business. I mean, you've been in Nelson County.
That's just a nice way of saying I'm old. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you know, I don't come right out and say it, but yeah. But you've been around a while, and you've been to a few schools, and you've got a little experience under your belt.
Yes. Well, this is my 43rd year. I started at Nelson County High School 43 years ago. Summer of 1974, Mr. Gerald Florence hired me to teach social studies and coach a few things, and I've been doing it ever since. Oh my God!
You got there the year I graduated in '73, so you got there the year after I left, and I'm sure Mr. Florence was glad of that. Me and him had several times in his office as well. So you spent time there, spent time in Bethlehem, and I know you just recently been at Marion County High School. So I'm going to say education's in your blood a little bit.
Well, it is. You know, I left here in '92 and went to Boyle County and did 8 years there and retired, went to Center College for a while, and then retired from it, came to Bethlehem for a while, and then really thought I was done. My son took that job at Troy University, and we went down there, and Troy University asked me to do some things, so I actually worked for the education department down there for a little bit, came back, and Ms. Dolores Schlosser, superintendent at Marion County, called and asked me to do a job for her last year, and then I thought I was done again, and then this one, they called and asked me to do this, and I really felt strongly that I wanted to do this, and kind of, you know, culmination, maybe the last act in that play.
I know, because you don't handle retirement very well.
I do have a high boredom factor, and I do get bored, Kenny, and stuff like that. Maybe when I'm actually done with education, maybe I'll go in the TV business.
There you go. We can use anybody we can get. We got to do a play or something as an actor. Well, again, you know, you got a combination there of academics and athletics, which is I don't say it's unusual for a superintendent, but it's probably a very good background to come from, because, you know, you get a lot of complaints sometimes that the superintendent doesn't always understand all aspects of what goes on in the school, but you've seen it from the bottom up and all the way around.
Yes, I have been at the bottom, and now I'm going to be at the top, maybe. I don't know which one's better. Maybe one is the other.
What is the special challenges of being a superintendent as opposed to being a principal or teacher? I mean,
well, it's the bigger focus, obviously. When you're a teacher, you're worrying about what's going on in your classroom, dealing with your students and doing the best you can for them. And then when you're a principal, and I did that for a long, long time, you do have a bigger focus than a teacher, but it's one school, one group of students that you're focusing on, and as superintendent, you're focusing on 11 schools and all the students, you know, almost 4,400 students in the Nelson County school system. So it's a bigger challenge, and it's the whole picture.
And you got a multi-million-dollar budget to deal with, and 5 school board members.
That's true. And you know, technically, I work for them, and they work for the public.
Well, they always say, though, you know, the buck stops at the top. So I'm sure after a few days on the job, you've already got sort of the feel of where the buck stops.
You know, I laughed to my wife right before I came back. I said, you know, I did almost 42 years and never got sued. I'll probably make it. I hope I can make it through 43, but we'll never know. But you were on the school board.
I was.
And it's an important job, and the people of Nelson County have been very good to me and my family, and this is my opportunity maybe to give some back.
The one thing I remember from being on the school board, if you pulled up and the parking lot was full, you knew you was in for an interesting night, because nobody usually showed up for routine nights or to tell you how good a job you're doing.
No, if they're there, they're probably unhappy about it.
Exactly. Right. Well, I mean, you've been there a couple days now, and again, is there any particular message you called top lieutenants around you and say, okay, here's what we need to do? Or is it more listening and trying to figure out where you are right now? What happens in the first few days as superintendent?
Well, this is a little bit unique because of the timing a little bit, Kenny. You know, what we've been focusing on is me getting to know everyone as much as possible, but also making sure that we're ready to start school, because next week we get ready to go.
Yeah.
Mondays are, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And Wednesday's our first day with students, so we've got to get things done. We've got a few teachers to hire, a few instructional assistants to hire, a few bus drivers to hire.
Yeah.
So we're focusing on getting everything set, and our first emphasis will be a successful start to school.
So I'm going to say it's going to be a whirlwind time for you for at least the first few months, getting things just accustomed to who you are and your management style, or nothing else.
I told the staff the central office staff yesterday morning when I met with them, the only thing I can tell you is that I'll probably be different. Not better, not worse, but different, because everybody has their own style.
Okay, so you deal with a lot of teachers. I mean, how many teachers I'm sure that's a pretty estimate on that. But you got to have
I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Because 11 schools, so you got to have a full.
There's a large number of employees. I would say that, without a doubt, the county school system is one of the largest employers in Nelson County.
Yeah, so you got all these employee issues, buses you got to worry about getting on the road, athletics, obviously, that's coming up here soon. So again, that's a pretty daunting task. I'm not saying this to be in any way trivial, but I can't see too many people stepping into this role and doing what you're about to do.
Well, I've wondered if I need a psychiatrist in this. No. I feel like, after doing what I've done for the last 40-something years, that I can offer them some experiences and some insight, maybe, and help. This is a difficult time for the school system in the transition period, and sometimes having an interim to kind of between the last superintendent and the next full-time superintendent is a good thing to have.
Okay, so what's going on in the Nelson County school system this year that's going to be, is there any big construction projects that are going on right now? What's happening?
Not large construction projects. We do have at Bloomfield Middle School, it was the only school that was heated and cooled with propane, and so we've switched to geothermal, and they've done a really good job. I was there yesterday checking out, looking at that, meeting with the construction people. They've done a wonderful job in the gym, redirecting the air conditioning and the heat HVAC and everything in there, and it really looks good. And so that's a big project, and that's a big project. And then, just getting every building up and running and ready to go.
We mentioned earlier about school board meetings, and you're going to be different. On here pretty soon, and
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, well, parents will be showing up. I mean, what do they expect as far as how they're going to deal with Tom Brown, superintendent? Is it a particular? Is it more of listening and learning? Is it more of just explaining? Well, how do you feel like you're going to be interacting with the regular public over the next few weeks?
Well, I'm hoping that as many people as I've had in school over the years here and taught their children and got now some grandchildren and stuff that are going through, that I'll have a certain built-in trust factor.
Okay. That
they most of them know me, and so not everyone obviously, but a lot of the people know me, and I hope that they get a little grace period to start. You always do in every job, and and I'm going to be honest and forthright with people and tell them if call it like it is, and try to deal with people like I would want to be treated, or like I want my son or daughter treated. So it's important to me that we establish a good rapport with us. It's not us versus them. We're all in this together, and we're all about trying to do what's best for the children going to school in Nelson County.
Well, I guess it's a personal issue with me, but I think it's very important that you did serve those years as principal. You understand what it takes for discipline. You understand what it takes. You've dealt with bullying. You've dealt with things on a student-to-student basis. So you've seen these issues. You haven't just read about them or heard about them.
No, I've been right there in the front of it. Did it last year at Marion County High School. So I've been right there You know, really the 7 years I was at Center was the only time that I really wasn't right there in the front of the firing zone, I guess you could say, to a certain extent. You know, I really believe that students want discipline, Kenny. They want to do the right thing. Now, some of them don't necessarily understand that all the time, and they'll argue with you that they really don't want it. But in the end, I think most people and most students want to have an orderly school and a well-run school.
So are you going to be more of a hands-on, or are you just basically going to leave it up to the principals to do their thing, step in when absolutely necessary, or are you going to lead a little bit more and more of a...
Probably a little bit of all of that. My dad, I think I was quoted one time in the Standard, but my dad, I believe, was the best school administrator I've ever met. And he spent 20 years in the Marine Corps, became retired lieutenant colonel, and he came out and school business and stuff, and he told me, and the one thing I've tried to live in, is that you hire the best people you can.
Yeah.
You try to find the very best people, you give them the tools and everything they need to do the best job they can, then you get out of the way and let them do their job. Now, if they're not doing their job, then you step back in and intervene if when necessary. But we're here to support the principals, we're here to support the teachers, and with that, we're supporting the parents and the students.
Now, the parents have been involved in a lot, in some cases, good or bad. I mean, there's sometimes parents get a little more emotional than they should, but are you encouraging parents to be more open to, if they see a problem, or more vocal? How do you deal with that? I know it's hard to deal with teachers, but they work for you. Parents don't. I mean, it's a little hard to deal with a parent.
That's true. I would encourage parents, if they have issues, the first person they need to talk to is the principal of that school. If they don't get satisfaction or they don't feel good about that, then they take the next level up, which may be me. But I asked them to, have you talked to the principal? And if they haven't, I'll say, would you please do that first? And I think that's the correct way to do it. It could be something big, could be something small, but most of the time the principal can deal with it most effectively.
Okay, well, I know it's a little early to be asking what the most pressing needs are out there right now. I know we always need more money. We need teachers want more pay, but I know is Nelson County in pretty good shape right now?
I think we're in pretty good shape financially. We are. I think, anytime you change leadership, it's, not a reflection on past or future to come, but anytime you change leadership, I think you then start over again in rebuilding trust and rebuilding relationships. And, we're going to work on that hard. And I hope that, the fact that I'm not somebody that most of the people don't know will help me do that.
Okay, well, you mentioned it a couple of times, 43 years. Now, is 43 years it? Are you going to make some decision at some point that you might want to be superintendent longer than a year?
No, I don't think so.
So it's going to be a one-time deal?
Well, I'm 65 years old, and while I still feel good and I still have a great deal of energy and stuff, I've got a son who's a Division I head football coach who I hope who had a real good year last year, and I hope he's going to have more success. And I want to be there for him. I've got a daughter who's finishing law school this year. I've got 3 grandkids, and so at some point in time, that's got to take the priority. Now, with that said, I'm going to give this job for however long I'm superintendent. I'm going to give it the utmost energy that I have. I'm going to work as hard as any superintendent's ever worked and stuff, and I'm looking forward to doing this. I think I worked with some great people here. We mentioned Mr. Florence, and T.T. Etheridge, and Bill Boone, James Burns, Victor Johnson, John Snyder, Eddie Thomas. Some of those people that a lot of the people will know were the people I learned from, and I think they were great school people, and I'm looking forward to following in their footsteps.
Well, I think Nelson County's in good hands. That's just my personal opinion, and I hope the people of Nelson County think so too. As schools getting ready to start, and their kids, we entrust our kids with you. As simple as the next generation is in your hands, and I know that's a pretty big responsibility.
Yeah, I felt that for a lot of years. I'm looking forward to it. I said to the Standard, I'm excited about it, and honored, but I'm humbled
Yeah.
a little bit also that they've asked me to do that, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, never a boring day, so I know you don't want to get bored,
No,
and I know you won't
no.
be this year anyway.
No, I will not. So when the first time it snows, Kenny, you're the first guy I'm going to call.
Yeah, well, at 4 a.m., I'm looking forward to the call. Tom Brown, the superintendent of Nelson County School Systems, here right now with us. And Tom, we do appreciate you taking the time out. Like I said, I know you're overwhelmed right now, or I would be. Yeah, you're easing right into it and going like a pro. But right now, it's a first few days of it.
Went to Boston yesterday for open house last night. We're going to Nelson County High School here in a little bit. I visited Bloomfield Elementary, Bloomfield Middle School, Thomas Nelson High School, Foster Heights, and we got a board meeting tomorrow, so no dull moments right now.
Yeah, better hope to get this out of the way before football season starts.
That'd be right. That'd be right.
Tom Brown, Nelson County School System Superintendent, here with us today. And again, if you're looking forward to the Nelson County school year, there's going to be some changes. May not be anything that big and open that you'll see, but Tom will do a great job, and I really wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right, stick around. A lot more to come here on Channel 6 TV. We'll be right back.